I'm now going to show you how to create a multiple baseline design graph in Microsoft Excel for Mac. If you haven't already done so, please open up your Excel spreadsheet, pause the tutorial, and enter in these data in this format and create an A-B design graph for Susan and an A-B design graph for Mike. Susan's graph should appear on the top and Mike's graph should appear on the bottom. Once you've done all that, you can then resume the tutorial. Basically, a multiple baseline design graph is a collection of A-B graphs. So once you've created all your A-B graphs, you're then going to put them together as one graph, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Your finished product is going to look like this graph over here. The first thing you'll need to do is line up your A-B graphs. It's easiest to line up your graphs using the lines that are showing in the background in the cells. Susan's graph I'm going to move right over here, and Mike's graph I'm going to move right below it. You might have to put the object that was covering the -1 back on the -1 if it doesn't move with the graph. Our next step is to get rid of the lines that are appearing around the graphs. We'll do this by first clicking on the top graph until it's highlighted, then right-clicking, selecting Format Chart Area, and for line, you're going to choose No Line, and then hit OK. We're going to do the same thing for Mike's graph. We'll click on the graph, right-click, select Format Chart Area, and then under line, select No Line and hit OK. The next thing we're going to do is get rid of the labels on the x-axis of our top graph. We're going to do this by clicking on the x-axis, right-clicking, selecting Format Axis, and then under ticks, we're going to select None under Axis Labels. And then under Major, you'll select None, and Minor, you'll select Outside, and then you can hit OK. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is to add in the y-axis label. So first I'm just going to move Mike's graph a little bit up so that the line in between them is no longer showing. Okay, now I'm going to adjust the plot area on each graph so that way I can fit in a y-axis label right over here on the left. We'll do that by clicking on the graph and then moving the plot area inward. We're going to do the same thing for Mike's graph so that way it's right below Susan's graph. And again, you might have to fix if the object covering the -1 does not move with the graph, you might have to move it again. Alright, now that we have space, we can add in the y-axis label. And we'll do that by going to Tools all the way at the top of your screen. You won't be able to see it, but it'll be all the way at the top on your Excel toolbar. You'll click on Insert, Text Box, and then you'll just draw a box right over here so it goes in between both graphs. Once you've done that, you're going to type in frequency of stealing. Alright, now we're going to open up our toolbox. And under alignment and spacing, we're going to select the center button. And then under orientation, we'll select the third. So that way it faces the graph, similar to this one over here. We're also going to change the font size to 14. In order to get rid of the box right around this, we're going to click on it until it's highlighted. And then we're going to right-click, select Format Shape, and then under Line, you'll select No Line. Now you can see there's no line surrounding the box. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is create a phase line that goes across both of these graphs. Since you already have your toolbox open, you can simply click on the object palette and go down to the elbow connector shape. And you'll draw this simply by clicking down and going right in between the gaps on each graph. You can pull this down by just grabbing the yellow diamond, and you want this to be parallel with the 25. In order to format this phase line, we're going to make sure it's highlighted and right click, select Format Shape. Under Line Color, you'll select Black. Under Weights and Arrows, you'll select Dashed. And then for weight, we're going to select the 2 point and then click OK. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is group our graphs together as one graph. So before you do that, make sure everything on your graph is similar to this graph over here. So if anything's messed up, just move it to the right place, and then we'll be ready to group the graphs together. Alright, the purpose of grouping the graphs together is so that when you try to move this over to a PowerPoint or a Microsoft Word document, it'll come over as one graph. Alright, so in order to group these graphs together, you'll hold down the Shift button, and you'll select the top graph, you'll select the bottom graph, you'll select the y-axis label, along with the phase line, and both of the shapes that are covering the numbers. Once you've done that, you'll right-click your mouse pad, go to Grouping, and select Group. Alright, now you should be able to move both graphs and it should appear as one graph together. And that is how you create a multiple baseline design graph using Microsoft Excel for Mac.